Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Well, it's Friday and you have made it. Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm so glad you're joining me today. It's Friday and you've made it all the way through the week. I tell you, I say this, I feel like I say this every Friday, but like really it is going so fast these days, you know. I don't know if it's just because of all the chaos that's happening in the world, or if it's because we live in such a virtual world now and everything online goes so quickly. You know, you see video after video, post after post, and just the speed of the information that we take in, it feels like it's speeding up life in general. I got to go outside today and spend a little bit of time with my cows, which I always love to do. Just a update on Bubba. He's really in trouble today. He's really in big trouble today. If you haven't followed me for a while, I have this black calf named Bubba, and he's a baby, but he doesn't look like a baby. That's why we call him Bubba. And Bubba is short for Bubba Fokker, because he's a Bubba Fokker. That's a polite way of saying what we'd really like to call him, because we have chased him up our street. We have chased him into the farmer's alfalfa field near us. We have chased him all over our property. Fortunately for us now, he's actually voice trained, right? So we can yell at him, hey, what are you doing? And he comes back and goes back in, sheepishly. But last night he decided to break through to the other side of the pasture where the chicken coop is. And he created my whole weekend, because he decided to let my chickens free, if you will. We have this mobile chicken coop, and it's got a temporary fence around it as well, because we have to keep them contained. Otherwise, we got chicken poop all over the place around here, right? So we keep them contained with this like mobile fence thing. And Bubba decided to get in there, and he just used his little budding horns that he has, because he has just little buds. He doesn't even have horns yet, to tear apart the fencing. So Jason, he texted Bubba's new owner, because as I told you, Bubba doesn't even belong to me anymore. Bubba has been sold. He's somebody else's problem now. Are you coming to pick up Bubba this weekend? Because we really got to get Bubba out of here. Bubba needs much more room to roam. Fortunately, his new owner has much more room for him to roam. So good riddance to Bubba. I love you, but I can't take you anymore. I just can't take you. So pray for me that his new owner comes and picks him up this weekend, because I'm going to be fixing chicken fence this weekend, thanks to Bubba. So that was kind of how I spent my morning. Oh, for the daily topic today, I want to talk about some stuff that's happening in culture. This is like unbelievable to me. But here we are, right? I mean, that's not really a weird statement to be saying. Don't you find yourself saying that all the time now? Like, this is unbelievable. What is going on here? So you know how we heard the announcement about Tylenol recently, and how Tylenol is toxic to the liver because it prevents you from being able to produce glutathione. And it's a little more complex than that, but essentially it's toxic, right? And so they came out with this announcement, and they hinted towards the evidence that this is linked to autism and linked to possibly vaccines, right? I mean, I know, hold on, don't freak out, but because everybody's freaking out. So they have to lay this stuff out so slowly. But let me tell you, this research has been available for a very long time. So, they made that announcement. And what did we see? I think the day after, not 24 hours later, did we see liberal women. I don't like to classify, but it was very specific, gobbling up Tylenol while they're pregnant. Like crazy, right? Because I get it. You don't like RFK. You think he's nuts. You think he's crazy. You think, he's a conspiracy theorist, and you think he's, there's almost like a little bit more hate on Bobby Kennedy from the left now than Trump. It's quite fascinating. So, don't take my Tylenol away from me, Bobby Kennedy. And they're literally gobbling up Tylenol. Like, if somebody told you Tylenol was toxic and you got a baby inside you, wouldn't you, even if you hated them, wouldn't you be like, I'm going to just maybe lay off of that? Well, not these people. And it made me think this question: how far are people willing to go? Like, if this doesn't prove that this is like brainwashing type of cult capture, I don't know what does. I mean, the response to this digging into the science about autism and about the fact that perhaps flu shots, regular other vaccines, injections might not be without consequence. Why would you not want to know that? Because your thought process has been captured and you are now part of a cult, part of a tribe that you don't want to leave, right? And it's almost like if you don't believe the tenets of the cult, then you got to leave. And what will you do if you leave, right? Then you don't have a tribe. It's so bizarre. So bizarre. I have a clip I want to share with you. This is Bobby Kennedy kind of responding to this. Take a listen.
This morning before I came in here, somebody showed me a TikTok video of a pregnant woman, 8 months pregnant. She is an associate professor at the Columbia Medical School. And she is saying F Trump and gobbling Tylenol with her baby in her placenta. And the level of Trump derangement syndrome has now left the political landscapes, and it is now in the realm of pathology. And a mother could overwhelm millions of years of maternal instinct to put her baby at risk. And all you have to do is look at the studies which you and I talked about. It's not dispositive that causes autism. It is so suggestive that anybody who takes this stuff during pregnancy, unless they have to, is irresponsible. There are 15 rodent studies. Every one of them shows if you give it to the mother, the babies, and particularly the male babies, have profound neurological and behavioral changes. There is a study from Johns Hopkins on cord blood where they divided women into 3 categories: those who had the least acetaminophen in their cord blood, and those who had the most. The ones with the most had 3.6 times the rate of autism in their children. The middle category had 2.2 times. So
I mean, it's fascinating because you think this group of people has been shouting from the rooftops all about science. In this house, we believe in science. In this house, science is what we follow. We follow the science, but not this science. This is absolute proof that it's not about the science, that it's not about the truth, that it is about sticking to the tenets of their cult. It's about sticking with their tribe. And this is why you guys have been talking about this whole week and for months now, really. I've been talking about how the left-right paradigm needs to go away. It's not serving either side. It is not serving us as a citizenry. It is serving the globalists. It is serving the corporate gangsters, as I like to call them, right? We have these corporate globalist gangsters that are coming up with campaigns to disseminate to the public to get people to act in very specific ways. And in order to prop up the corporations that, big pharma's involved in this, right? In order to keep it going, there's certain tenets that people have to believe in. And they have to believe in pharmaceutical intervention as a way to heal. It's not a way to heal. It's a way to manage disease. And you may need it from time to time. I'm not saying we should throw out all pharmaceuticals. That is not what I'm saying here. They are sometimes life-saving interventions, but they should be temporary because the body is the only thing that heals. And when we give the body the raw materials it needs to heal, it will find its way back to homeostasis. And we can use pharmaceuticals to make sure we sustain ourselves through that process. But ultimately, there should be the end in mind that we get off of pharmaceuticals and that we allow our body to function as it was designed to function. See, the way the campaign has to go in the corporate gangster model is that you need to be reliant on these products all the time, because that's what keeps them going. That's what keeps feeding the beast there. And as long as the beast is big, the beast is in control. It's amazing. It's really amazing. Stay tuned, everybody. This is Naturally Inspired Radio, and we'll be right back.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen.
I think I'm ready for the weekend. I need a little cheer up and chill out time. The cheer up and chill out gummies, I want to tell you about them because Rachel from Boulder has been taking them and she can really feel the difference. Her mood feels lighter. She feels like she's handling stress a lot better. And she's just amazed how something so simple can make such an impact. Of course, it's natural, right? It's herbs, ashwagandha, L-theanine, and it's put together in a gummy, which I believe is one of the reasons, that I love the product line I'm partnered with, is because I think that feeling your best should not be torturous. It shouldn't be a begrudging practice that I have to take all, I've got to take this, I've got to do that just to feel my best. I think that optimum health, it should come from a lifestyle that you love. And so I'm not all about, taking a whole bunch of pills every single day. We can have a whole nother discussion about that, which we will. I am going to next week have a very in-depth discussion about supplementation and my views on supplementation. But anyway, I digress. I think you should drink some of your nutrition. I think you should enjoy gummies with some of your nutrition. I think that you should take vitamins in the capsule form. I think you should move your body. I think you should make meals that are absolutely delicious. This whole diet culture that we've been through in the 80s and 90s, it created a bunch of us that think that health comes from deprivation, and it doesn't. We don't have to fight our bodies for health. Our bodies want health. That's all they know how to do. That's all our bodies know how to do, is to survive and thrive. They are wired for survival. But it's this medical model that has created this narrative, which, oh my gosh, you guys, I'll tell you about, I got some coffee out today and I'll tell you about that, that we have to fight our bodies, that we're in battle for health. Now, this allopathic model, by the way, happens to not work if you start shifting the way you think about your body. It happens to not work anymore if all of a sudden you realize that your body's on your side and that it has everything it needs to heal and to achieve optimum health. You do have to feed it. You do have to nutrify it. You do have to detoxify it, right? But when you do that, it's just amazing how the synergy comes together and expresses in optimum health. Anyway, so one of the tools I use is the Cheer Up and Chill Out gummies. You'll love to have them on hand. I'm just going to order a whole bunch more because I could have really used them this week. I just had a little bit of an intense week, and I could have used these. They're wonderful. They taste great. They're handy. And again, you can enjoy feeling good. So go to naturallyinspiredstore.com/cheer up. If you have any questions about any of the product line or anything, 720-303-8868. So naturallyinspiredstore.com/cheer up. Let me tell you. So I went through a little local cafe drive-through place that we have here, and, lovely little barista there, very friendly, nice, how they all are. But she spent a few minutes telling me, that all the proceeds that they're collecting next week from their coffee shop are going to the health systems in my community. They're going to the hospital systems in my community. And of course, the pamphlet she gave me was dripping with pink. Dripping with pink, right? You guys, I've had it. Because, I feel like, do you ever feel like this when you're navigating the world? You're constantly just pushing what you really want to say down because everybody's hoodwinked, and it's just so gross to me because it's so predatory. By design, these massive corporations have weaponized our kindness. They have weaponized our wanting to help, our goodness. They have weaponized our goodness. Billions of dollars pouring in to campaigns for cancer awareness. I want you to hear what I'm saying. Cancer awareness. They used to say, race for a cure. They used to say cure, we're looking for a cure. And now the language has changed a lot. And it's in the gray zone now. It's in awareness. It's in, bringing hope. Very subjective terms. And I'm telling you, $70 billion, I think is the statistic. $70 billion poured into cancer awareness and cancer research. And how close are we to understanding cancer? There's new drugs on the line because that's where all the money goes. We don't understand cancer prevention. We don't even talk about it. In fact, the very things that cause cancer are sold for the research to stop cancer. And I think you probably know what I'm talking about. The pink, sugary, ribbon-shaped donuts. Sugar is poison, and it leads straight down the path to disease. Many of the products that carry the little pink ribbon on them, not good for you. Ultra-processed foods. Right? This is a business. And now I go through my little, fairly local coffee chain drive-through, and there's a lovely young lady there telling us, she's feeling so good about raising money for cancer next week, and giving it to her local hospital systems. And I just want to puke. Because those operations are... wow. When I say gangsters, corporate gangsters, that's who I'm talking about. They do the unthinkable. To families. Deny your claims after paying, tens of thousands of dollars in premiums. They skate out on surgeries because you don't really need that. We can't do that. On and on and on and on. And these hospital systems, well, you know, the insurance and the hospital systems, guys, they're one and the same. Health is big business, and it is gobbled up every little component of it. You know, the insurance companies are in bed with the hospital systems, like they own one another. The pharmacy benefit managers are owned by some of the insurance companies. Even your doctors are working for your insurance companies. Like it's one big monopolistic cycle. And I don't know, their results are terrible for the most part, you know? Some of their markers for what success is, I wouldn't call that success. You know, 5 years without breast cancer is considered a success. 5 years. And it goes on and on like that. Politics is health now. And we're seeing that on display with just what Bobby Kennedy said there. Like, here's the science on this, right? And you have so-called educated people. Are they educated though? Like, because in that video he described this as a associate professor or whatever. That's like, to me, that's like a signal that this person is probably heavily indoctrinated. They paid for it. They paid for their own indoctrination. And it's all the schooling, all the medical journals, all the medical schools. They're all funded by the cult. They're all funded by that operation I just explained. You can't get real answers from a corrupt, broken, predatory system. You can't. But yet we don't know where else to go. And we feel so lost because the conditioning for so many of us for so long now has been, you know, this is where we go. And when we go there, we expect a pill or we expect a remedy on the spot. And then that remedy fixes us. But it doesn't. It only covers up the communication that your body is trying to signal to you. It doesn't remedy anything. It conceals communication. Real healing only happens when you set the stage for the body to heal, meaning it's nutrified, it's hydrated, its detox pathways are open so it can get rid of whatever poison is in the body. When we practice, you know, emotional strategies too, to manage stress and to manage our stress hormones. When we look for purpose and we feel, you know, supported in our community, these are all variables for health. And that model rarely talks about any of that, if at all. If at all. So how far are we willing to go for the sake of the tribe? How far? Watch this video before we go to break. It's kind of stunning. Here it is.
Okay, so just now I put a mandarin in your hand, and then you said, no, I'm going to have an apple.
No.
And so, do you need some help with the apples?
Yes.
What do you need? What do you need me to do? What do you need me to do? Oh, let's try it. Okay, I got it myself.
I wonder if politics is going to keep some moms from getting their children help. I really wonder that. Let's talk about that clip when we come back. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. See you in a minute.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio, save it to your favorites, and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. NaturallyInspiredRadio.com.
We've been talking so much about the MTHFR gene mutation. Are your vitamins methylated? I feel like everybody needs a multivitamin, right? Like I said earlier, we're going to be talking a lot about supplementation because I'm seeing a pattern, with people in my community of naturally inspired. They have all these vitamins, right? And they bought this for way back when, and they bought that. And it's like, you know what? You need a goal. What is your goal with supplementation? And I think everybody should be on a good multivitamin. And the one I recommend has methylated vitamins, right? It has methylated Bs in it, which is very important because we've been talking about the MTHFR gene mutation, and you're going to hear more about it. So I just played you a clip. And by the way, you can get your vitamins at naturallyinspiredstore.com/vitamin, naturallyinspiredstore.com/vitamin. If you have questions about this, 720-303-8868. So I just played you a video of a little boy, an autistic little boy, who has been taking the Leucovorin, not sure exactly how you say it. Leucovorin, spelled that way. Anyways, this is a prescription grade phenolic acid. And it's interesting because I've been thinking this for so long that really all dis-ease is in the body. All disease is really an inability to detox, right? You've got your body needs to be open channels, right? For things to flow properly. And yet we have so many people that are struggling with constipation. They're struggling. Some people, they're like, I never sweat. That's not anything to be bragging about. Like, you need your detox pathways open. And so it would make sense to me. I mean, just think about it from don't even think about it from the medical perspective, but just think about it like with anything. If things are backed up in your sewer system, you got a problem in your house, right? It's the same kind of thing in your body. And so it makes sense to me that we want to keep our detox pathways open. Perhaps there are gene mutations that cannot handle the injections. You know what I'm saying? They can't handle maybe mom's toxic burden when they're in utero. And then when they get out on day one, they're being inundated with more toxins via syringe and via environment. And so maybe, just maybe, if we supported detox pathways and we didn't inundate these little bodies with toxins, we might have better health outcomes. It just seems like kind of a no-brainer. We should try it, right? But yet there's this fight, this, enragement over this, just this. We're not even forcing people to do this. We're just saying, hey, we should probably keep these options open for people. We probably should. But for some reason, there is just rage about this idea that perhaps this is a cause of autism. So much so that people are saying, we don't want to solve autism. We don't need to cure autism. What? So what you're telling me is that video I just played for you, that sweet little boy, we don't need to try to help him. We should just let him stay locked in his world where he can't speak. We should just let that lie. I don't think so. I don't think so. And I don't care about your quirkiness and your that you love your label. I get that you love your label of autism or whatever, but that's not going to stop this. You're not going to stop this. Holy man, it's just, it's actually unbelievable. You know, you just feel like you're living in an upside down world all the time. Now we don't want to cure diseases because, you know, it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about fulonic acid. So this is not my definition. This is, I looked this up. This is the definition. So you can see the difference between folic acid and fulonic acid. Okay. Fulonic is what this little boy is getting. It's the leucovorin. It's fulonic acid. Folic acid is the synthetic version of vitamin B9 used in most fortified foods and standard supplements. How it works, folic acid must go through multiple enzymatic conversions in the body, including the MTHFR enzyme step, to become the active form called 5-methyltrihydrofolate. 5-MTH. Again, if you have 25 letters in the name, I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. 5-MTH. Okay. So if a person has the MTHFR gene mutation, this conversion is inefficient. Unmetabolized folic acid can build up in the bloodstream and may interfere with methylation, detoxification, and neurotransmitter balance. Okay. It's found in everything fortified, flour, grains, like it's everywhere. It's in a lot of, it's in prenatal vitamins. It's in prenatal vitamins. I try to think that that's not sinister, but it's in prenatal vitamins, and it's in lots of different supplementation. So fulonic acid, the 5-MTHF, is a natural metabolically active form of folate that is one step away from the fully active 5-MTHF. It does not require the MTHFR enzyme for conversion, making it useful for people with MTHFR polymorphisms. The body can convert fulonic acid directly into forms needed for DNA repair, red blood cell formation, and neurotransmitter production. Prescription forms, okay, certain high quality methylated supplements and some therapeutic protocols for neurological and mitochondrial support. So the folic acid is synthetic lab made. Fulonic acid is naturally occurring. Okay, requires MTHFR enzyme. Folic acid does. Fulonic acid doesn't. Okay, so converts to 5-MTHF easily. Folic acid doesn't. Fulonic acid does. Okay, so you see the difference. This is what impact you saw in that video is having on these children. Now, is it going to be a wonder drug that fixes everything? Nothing really is. And I know that feels like not something you want to hear, because you want to hear, like, again, if you go back to what we were talking about with the medical model, we're programmed to be like, hey, I'm just going to take that. I saw this everywhere with methylene blue, right? It's just blew up everywhere, methylene blue, and everyone's on methylene blue. And I'd be like, what are you taking that for? And they're like, I don't know. I just heard it was good. And I'm like, okay, we can literally take anything if that's our approach, right? But if we do that, if we continue that approach of like everybody take everything and everything's good for everybody, then we're sticking with the allopathic model. Paint everybody with the same brush, This is good for everybody, right? And so we have to make sure that as we move into the new realm of understanding health, that we protect the individual and that we protect our individual needs, because not everybody is the same. And this everybody is the same type of mentality, you guys. That's how we got here. Everybody needs to take the COVID vaccine. Everybody. Never mind that you've had a reaction to an injection in the past. Doesn't matter, you got to take it. Never mind that you're, 16 athletic boy who has zero chance of dying from it. Got to take it anyway. Because it never was about our health. It was about the business. It was about making sure people comply because this product was going to be mandated. And now we can get into the weeds about why. I personally do not believe it was just about money. Money, great. Yeah, they want money for sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things. But this is about the transformation of how we live our lives. That's what I believe COVID was about. It was about the transformation into understanding biotechnology, the merger between technology and men, machine and man. It was about moving AI forward. It was about upgrading society into a technological society where AI and man live together, merged. And trust me, you guys, I spent hours listening to talks from years prior, years before COVID, with people like Anthony Fauci, with AI people, like all kind. They would sit there and tell everybody at the conference that they were looking for universal vaccinations, that the old way of making vaccines was antiquated and that the technology existed, but we'd never get everybody to agree to it unless, of course, we had a major outbreak. I mean, of course. It was by design. It was by design. We're in a race right now, and there are multiple people trying to win the race. People in AI, people in that own biotech companies. We have corporate gangsters. They need to win the political race so that they can control the corporate race that they're in against other corporations. And we're just along for the ride, right? We're just the fuel. We're the people that need to be herded this way or that way. And we can't just keep putting up with it. Because people are so tribal, they're willing to sacrifice the health of their children to stay a part of their tribe. We're living that right now. Incredible. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm Tammy Cuthbert Garcia. Stay tuned for your Naturally Inspired moment up next.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations, much of it being imported or processed with additives? Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care, so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Stock your freezer with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
Welcome back. I've been having such a good time getting to know you, doing assessments all morning, some in the evening as well. Really called to bring you real solutions for health so we can change the culture of health in this country. And I'm enjoying so many of our conversations. We just seem to connect so well because if you're watching the show, we probably agree on a lot of things. One thing I have noticed is, so wait a minute, if you haven't done a 30-minute assessment with me, you need to. Take advantage of this. I mean, it's painless, and I guarantee you'll walk away with at least one bit of information that kind of blows your mind. Because I've been doing this long enough now, and it happens every time. So go to naturallyinspiredstore.com/assessment and give me 90 days. Give me 90 days. Work with me for 90 days, and let's just see where we can get you. Okay? Because I guarantee you something will change. It'll benefit you in some way. So go and book your assessment right now, naturallyinspiredstore.com/assessment. But the one pattern I've noticed, I think we got a lot of Gen Xers watching this, and I think this is kind of a trait of Gen Xers. Because let's face it, like we grew up, I want to say we're pretty tough. It was just the way we grew up, like our moms were working and, we were out running the streets all the time. We had utter independence like kids do not have today. And so as a result of kind of the way we grew up, a lot of us are caretakers. We love to take care of other people. We don't actually know any other way to function because we've been caretakers our whole lives, whether our parents were questionable. I think all of us Gen Xers, we've got a picture of our moms with our birthday cakes, in one hand and a cigarette in the other hand, and there's probably beer cans all over the house, and my parents were teenagers when they had me and my sister. So it was party central there for a while. Anyway, that's kind of how we grew up. So I feel like we're a tougher generation. And that makes us kind of susceptible to not being able to allow ourselves to be cared for. And everybody deserves to be cared for. It's not a weakness to allow yourself to be cared for by other human beings. You care for everybody else. Everybody sees you as the caregiver because you've been doing that your whole life. You're taking care of your grandma. You're taking care of your aunt. You're, doing all these things for everybody. And it feels almost unnatural to allow yourself to be cared for. But guess what? We all need it. And if we don't get it, what happens is that bucket that we have to pull from, to give to others, to care for others inside of us, it starts to overflow. And there's nothing left to give because you gave it all out and you never had an opportunity to be cared for yourself. So I see that in so many of us, Gen Xers. So today I want to talk about, are you allowing yourself to be cared for? Number one, this is a big one. Recognizing that receiving is strength, not weakness. So many of us are natural givers. We pour into others, show up for our family, show up for our friends, show up for our community. But the ability to receive is equally vital to health. In traditional Chinese medicine, when you refuse to receive, you stagnate your heart qi. The energy of joy and connection. That's the heart qi. So the next time someone offers to help you, and I'm laughing because this is me. Can I help you out with your groceries? No. I got it. Because what? What is wrong with me? You helping with my groceries is like a sign of weakness or something? Like, why are we like this, Gen X? Why are we like this? We've got to stop because everybody needs to feel like they are cared for. Okay? So the next time you get the opportunity, even if something small like carrying groceries or making a meal, somebody caring for you, allow it. Allow it. Number 2, reframe care as energy exchange. So allowing others to care for you creates balance. It's not taking. It's circulation. It's circulation. The same way blood and chi must flow freely for the body to thrive, relationships need reciprocal giving and receiving. Notice how it feels when someone offers kindness. Pause, breathe, and receive it fully without apology or justification. I am willing to bet many of you listening, when someone offers their help, you don't even think about it. You just respond, "Oh, no, it's okay. I got it." Your challenge, your homework is this. Next time someone asks to help you, at least allow yourself a breath and to think about it before you refuse it. Okay? Put a little space in between that knee-jerk reaction of, "I don't need any help. What are you talking about? I got it." Just a little bit of space. Okay? Number 3, space for vulnerability. True care can only reach you when your defenses lower. Vulnerability invites intimacy, trust, and emotional nourishment. The nutrients of the heart and spleen. That's also, this is the traditional Chinese medicine area. So you have to open that. People say, open your heart. And I used to think, what are you talking about? Like, open your heart. How do I open my heart? It's quite literal in traditional Chinese medicine. That's if you don't have an open heart, you will have heart issues. Like congestion builds up. It's just fascinating. So share one honest truth this week with someone you trust, something you've been holding back, and let their care land on you. So tell them one of your burdens. Tell somebody one of your issues. If you don't have anybody to tell, text me, 720-303-8868. Get it out of your head, off your heart, and at least out there so you can create a little space. Number 4, schedule restoration like it's responsibility. So if you don't make space to be restored, your nervous system cannot reset. And I'll tell you, if you don't hit 50 yet, there's a little special surprise for you if you don't catch on to this now. Let me tell you, if you don't catch on to this now, that your bucket's full and that you actually do have to be cared for, your bucket will overfloweth, and not in a good way. Not in a good way. Your nervous system will break down on you, and you will find yourself snapping at people, and you will be at your limit, because there are seasons in life. There are seasons. And I feel like every decade we kind of enter into a different layer of life. And 50 is a big one. It's this walking into true purpose, I feel like. Really your true purpose, who you need to be. You got to let go of all this baggage you've been carrying around, this armor that you've put up because you're tough and you're Gen X and you do it yourself. You got to let go of some of that in order for who you're supposed to be to really be able to shine through. And so if you find yourself in this space right now where you feel like, I don't know what I'm doing, like, is this my purpose? Like, welcome. That's what I would say, because that's what happens at this season of life, in mid-40s into your 50s. So schedule at least one restorative ritual each week that replenishes you, not as a reward, but as prevention. Again, it is responsibility to to schedule restoration. It's your responsibility. Invite spiritual care. Care doesn't only come from people. It flows through nature, faith, your connection with God. Many who give endlessly forget they are also loved endlessly. Spend 5 minutes in stillness in prayer today and simply ask, how can I allow myself to be cared for? And then listen. Listen. Something will come. You know, a vision maybe of a time when you did feel cared for. There are cues. There are cues, and we have to start coming back. I talk about this all the time about human higher faculties, right? As AI moves in, I feel like the antidote to AI is humans upregulating their higher faculties, their connection to God, their intuition, their frequency, memory, creativity, ability to create. These are all things that we need to get started up again. Everybody has it. Everybody has that, those abilities in them. It's just that we get weighed down by life's daily tasks and pressures, and we forget these higher faculties. And we forget that when you don't use them, you lose them. And we get stuck on mundane ideas, and we get stuck on mundane tasks, and we forget that we are, vital, vibrant, almost mystical beings with talents, with gifts, with really just magical biology. And we take it for granted every day that this body's just going to show up for us. It's like your iPhone, We all own iPhones, but if you're Gen X, I bet you don't use half of what it's able to do. Because I don't. Right? We don't even know what it does. We're like, okay, just don't break on me and don't get stuck, right? A lot of us, I know a lot of you are very tech savvy, whatever, but it's not my forte. And I know a lot of us, we don't use the full capabilities of things on the phone. Well, start looking at your body like that. Start looking at your body like that. Like, oh my gosh, what does this do? Like, how can I strengthen my intuition? How can I start working on my intuition where I can strengthen it? How can I start, working on my memory so I can strengthen it? How can I start working on empathy so that I can strengthen it, so I can be of service to other people? Because I really think that's the bottom line, right? Our trials, our challenges, when we go through them, to get any kind of good out of them, when you come out the other side, you got to pay it forward. You got to encourage other people when they're going through it. You got to say, hey, look, I'm out the other side and I'm still here. I'm doing well. I think we owe that to each other as humans. Anyway, allow yourself to be cared for this weekend. Make space. We're coming up on the second hour. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. We'll be right back.
Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans struggle with their health every single day? That's why we are reaching out to health professionals and to anyone who simply has a heart for helping people. Right now, there's an opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives while building a flexible income stream for yourself. Whether you're already working in health, wellness, or just passionate about seeing people thrive, we want to connect with you and introduce you to our system. Together, we can provide real solutions that empower people to take control of their health and create lasting impact. If you've been looking for a way to combine purpose with income, this is it. Visit simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. That's simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. We look forward to working with you. Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Welcome back. This is hour 2 of Naturally Inspired Radio. I want to thank our new customers, Michelle, Martinique, Alex, Beth, Taylor, Fran, and Bob. Welcome to the Naturally Inspired community. We're so excited that you're here, and we can't wait to get started to working with you. Also, it's Friday, so we have a winner, our weekly winner. Today's winner is Heather Angelbeck. Heather Angelbeck, you have won. So reach out to connect. You can connect with me or Jason, 720-303-8868. We want to make sure we have the right information for you. And we'll do a brief assessment so we can get you the products that will benefit you the most. So today's winner is Heather Angelbeck. If you have not yet entered to win, you got to do it. Head on over there. You can go to naturallyinspiredstore.com and there's a little enter to win tab there that you can enter your name into, and you can be chosen. You can win free product. We give away stuff every single week. So head on over there, and thank you so much to our new community members. We're so glad that you are with us. I want to talk about health insurance. There was a good, it seems to be amping up. MTG has been talking a lot about health insurance. Finally, right? Because when MAHA rolled out, I mean, I hate to be impatient, but when, Make America Healthy Again rolled out, there was a lot of talk about how we were going to transform America's health. And I was all about it. Trust me. Like, I'm doing events, I'm doing shows, like I'm all about MAHA. I was very much on board, very excited about it. And I think things are going, I think it's tough because of the corporate gangsters that we're up against, and the fact that our country's run like a corporation makes it rough because, there's fiduciary responsibilities, there's legal contracts, there's negotiations happening all the time. And it's frustrating because we, the people, just we want what's right. We want what's right, and we want to be healthy, and we want a non-corrupt system for our children. I mean, let's get on with it. But unfortunately, because of the way our country's run, and it is a business, things move slowly. But one of the things that I've been saying since, kind of for years now is lots of people understand that big pharma is bad. And I think more people than ever realize the problems that we have with big pharma. And I think people have frustrations with insurance for sure, but I don't think they realize big pharma is bad, but big insurance is worse. And the reason why big insurance is worse is because they're kind of controlling everything. These huge corporations are in business doing things. It blew my mind when I found out, that certain health care companies are actually in all kinds of business. And it all kind of ties in to patient care and claims and premiums and pharmacy benefit managers. It's all tied together. It truly is a monopoly. So I found this long time ago now. There's this little short YouTube video, and I want to share a clip with you. What we're going to do, we're going to play remember that the CEO, the United Healthcare CEO, he was filmed doing a presentation. And I think you'll find what he says very interesting, and it'll give you new insight into what I'm saying when I say that this whole healthcare infrastructure is captured. Take a listen.
There are multiple randomized controlled clinical trials
drawn up with them to go and be our first pilot customer. This is all the retail stores in the U.S. There was actually a lot of money coming from the government at this point. So you have ARA, which had somewhere around $25 billion that was earmarked for clean tech projects at the time. This is an insane amount of money from a startup perspective. If you can even just get 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10, you're in great shape. And we had terrific connections. So we've had people like Nancy Pelosi, TJ Glothyer, the former Deputy Secretary of the DOE, working for us in terms of figuring out how to get a grant. We put together a very sophisticated, at least for a startup of our size, grant application.
So your government is funding these health insurance companies. And I find that really, really interesting because that's not what we're led to believe most of the time. We're led to believe that these are private companies, that they are out there on their own, kind of just doing private business, right? They're doing private business. They're privately funded. They're funded by our premiums or what have you. And that's not the case. There was a great post on X I want to read to you. It's from the account called Heath Vuleman. So he says that I'm really sick of hearing this. The government is not subsidizing people. They're subsidizing insurance companies. The American people are paying thousands upon thousands of dollars for a product that is, for all intents and purposes, useless. United Healthcare, whose revenue is about 50% dependent on government subsidies, 50% dependent on government subsidies, denies 33% of its claims. Aetna denies 29% of their claims. Blue Cross Blue Shield, aggregate across states, denies 18% of claims. Cigna Centene denies 16 to 17% of their claims. Humana, which when you consider their military benefits administration is basically a government payer, denies 12% of their claims. And of all denied insurance claims in the entire US, only 1% of them are appealed. And of those appealed, only 46% of that 1% are overturned, so less than half. Health insurance is indeed a scam. The subsidy isn't for the patient, and the physicians don't get paid at all 20% of the time. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And when they do get paid, there's always some kind of adjustment lowering the reimbursement, and it takes an average of 71 days to get paid. So I did a great podcast with Dr. Jill Vecchio a few years back. She was a physician that was pushing back against Obamacare at the time of its rollout. She was actually touring and going around trying to gather physicians to understand what Obamacare was going to do to the healthcare system. And let me tell you, it did precisely what she said it was going to do. It took power away from medical doctors. It took the power away from medical arts and practicing physicians. And it put it into the hands of CEOs. It put it into the hands of hospitals, of corporations. They now dictate all care, not your doctor. They do. Now I think the statistic now is down to 12%. 12% of physicians in America actually own and operate their own clinics, independent of insurance. So this was a very strategic business model that this healthcare insurance companies deployed upon our medical system. And it was one, and this is the video I was telling you. It is on YouTube, and I believe it's called United Hell, Huell. I believe you can find it if you look it up on YouTube there. It's a pretty short little documentary, and it explains exactly what happened. So these gangsters, they started buying up all these little kind of mom and pop clinics. And how they did that, you guys, this is so gross. What they did is they moved in as a big player, these insurance companies, and they say, yep, this is the area we'll cover, and these are the doctors that we'll cover, and we'll pay out, all of your claims. And so they set that up. And what they did then is that they had an enormous rate of denial of claims. So, you didn't fill this paper out right. You billed wrong for that. And I actually experienced this because I briefly worked in physical therapy when I was really young. I briefly worked in physical therapy, and my eyes were opened to the billing of physical therapy. It was insane. These clinics were purposefully having to overbill because it was widely known that they would maybe get paid out on 30% of what they billed. And so it was a game. It was a game where they had to bill out astronomical amounts of money just to get the money that they were rightfully owed. And thus began this game where what would happen is these independently owned clinics that were, run by independent doctors, they couldn't pay their own bills because their insurance companies were not paying their claims. And this is so bad, so gross. So when the doctors would not get paid, they themselves would start to get backed up and in debt, right? They couldn't keep their lights on in their clinics. They were having a hard time keeping supplies. It was a bottleneck, right? They weren't getting the money in. They were billing out insurance, and that claim would take months to get paid out. And when it did get paid out, it wouldn't get paid out for what it was billed. And so what happened is a lot of these doctors saddled with student loan debt and now the expense of running a clinic. They didn't worry about getting patients through the door. They were having to worry about whether the insurance company would actually pay them. And so what happened is these insurance companies formed other companies. And these other companies were loan companies. Your healthcare insurance provider got into the loan business. And they started loaning physicians money to keep them afloat because they wouldn't pay their claims. Stay tuned. I'll tell you what happened next. This is Naturally Inspired Radio.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen.
There's never been a better time to take care of your health. Let me tell you, you do not want to be trapped in this system. It is not about your health when it comes to chronic care. And I want to shout out to all the emergency medicine practitioners. I love emergency medicine. It saves lives. You get in an accident, you break a leg. Oh, so great. We're so lucky to be in this country because we have excellent emergency medicine care. However, we have terrible disease care in this country. When you're talking chronic illness, when you're talking, long-term health, whoa, we really got a lot of work to do. So you don't want to be in the system. You really don't. So take your health into your own hands. Take personal responsibility for your health and start searching out answers. I don't give medical advice, but I do walk alongside people who are looking for real solutions for health. So book your assessment with me today, naturallyinspiredstore.com/assessment. I'm happy to spend some time with you. I've been doing this a long time, and I have a lot of different bits of information I can share with you that I know will shed light on what's going on with you. So book with me, naturallyinspiredstore.com/assessment. Okay, where was I in the story here? It was just getting to the bad part, talking about these health insurance companies. So what happened is they, refused to pay these doctors. These doctors started experiencing financial hardship. And so what do these predators do in the insurance business? They sweep in and they say, we'll give you a loan. We'll give you a loan. And they actually went into the payday loan business. You say, what? Doctors are rich. Why would they need a payday loan? They needed payday loans because insurance companies were not paying out. And then when they became so saddled in the payday loan debt, because we know the payday loan system was a huge predatory system, right? It was loan sharking. It was loan sharking. And they would buy these physicians' practices up so that the physician had become so far underwater, he couldn't breathe anymore, she couldn't breathe anymore. And these insurance companies would come in and say, we'll buy you. And that's how they ended up controlling I would say close to 80% or more of the physicians in America today work for a giant hospital system, which is owned by insurance companies. And don't take my word for it. Go do the research. But that guy that we just watched the clip from, he was the CEO of United Healthcare. I believe he lost his life on the street. He was telling you about how they were, building relationships in government. So isn't that just like kind of interesting, right? So like, hey, Nancy Pelosi, well, donate to your campaign. And then Nancy pushes through different grants where these so-called private companies are getting your tax dollars to the tune of like 33% subsidy. Insane. And then on top of that, they have the audacity to charge us out crazy premiums per month. I just saw a story about how premiums are going up again. And for a family of 4, you're looking at roughly about $24,000, $25,000 a year. So, over $2,000 a month for a family of 4, a healthy family of 4. And then that's not including your $7,000 deductible and your co-pays that you never meet, right? It's like you're constantly paying. So you're paying for something you're never going to be able to use, and you're paying for your medical care as well. Like, it is robbery. It is robbery. And I don't think most people understand how it works. And they're like, oh man, my premiums keep going up. Yeah. And you're paying for it through your tax dollars too. Sometimes I just, fantasize about what it would be like if everybody just like tapped out of insurance. Not saying to do it, not giving advice here, but like, don't you just wonder, Don't you just wonder what would happen? I don't know. I don't have a full solution for insurance. I do think about it a lot, and I've thought about different things. I definitely think we should be rewarded for prevention and lifestyle. It just makes sense. I would love to go back to a merit-based world, where you get rewarded for things that you do right. So, you don't maybe have to pay as much. Maybe this includes, some prevention types of care. Maybe, we need freedom here. Right now, it's like you walk in the door of the allopathic model and you are expected to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? All the way down the line. And if you don't do it, there's nothing else. Well, what about this acupuncture I heard about? Or what about this? We don't do that here. You're paying for care. You're paying a premium and you have absolutely no freedom to choose how you receive that care. Isn't that a little odd? What other product do you buy that you feel like, you have no say over? You can't take it back when it doesn't work. You can't get a refund. And so many people are, going bankrupt from medical bills. It's a very broken system. But Jason has been telling me for years that this is all heading towards universal health care. And we may see that very soon. And that is not going to be a good thing. You think it's bad now? Oh man, just wait. I've lived through, socialized medicine in Canada, and you're talking about 2-year waits to see a pediatrician. You're talking about MRI machines running 24/7, and you may have to go, you wait 6 months to a year to get an MRI. And then when you get there, you got to go at 2:30 in the morning or 3 in the morning because that's the only slot available. It is not the way. I mean, common sense says, do we really want the government in on everything? Like, the more the government gets involved in things, the more crappy it is, It's just common sense. I would think with all of the business leaders that we have in the world, that we would be able to come up with a system that actually worked for the people, that was innovative, that, was creative, that served individual needs when it comes to medical care. But this thing that we have right now is straight up gangster. It is straight up gangster. Pay your way for regulation. Pay your way. Extort, withhold, or else. It makes me sad. It makes me sad the way that this thing has grown and become a behemoth. This system that we call health care, which isn't health care at all. It is disease care. I have another clip I want to share with you. This is kind of exciting. This comes from Megyn Kelly. And Dr. Singh was on her podcast recently, and they were talking about cancer. And I think this guy has a lot of good things to say. And I don't know. It made me kind of hopeful to hear this. So take a listen.
So it's given me 8 years. And now this is where we are. So when I was with him at Riyadh with MBS and in Qatar with the Emir, I shared, if you could see these videos with him, this conversation that we have now, the BioShield. And this is not only important for...
You shared it with Trump?
With President Trump, yeah. Okay. And his response was, please come and talk to me. This is important. And obviously he's been occupied with more important things of the world, which is going on right now, thank goodness. And hopefully he gets a Peace Prize for what's going on in Gaza. But I think the opportunity now for us, for him as the president, to be able to make that difference and cut through this bureaucracy and this dogma for a drug that's already approved that can change the course of cancer, for which a drug that we have now in trials, sponsored by the National Cancer Institute to prevent cancer with patients who don't have cancer. To my knowledge, it's the only molecule that's gone through those large phases. So that is where I am now, where...
I mean, if President Trump could oversee some sort of a medical protocol that prevents cancer and cures cancer, the very thing that Joe Biden did say he was doing with the cancer moonshot, it would absolutely cement his legacy. I mean, truly, even the left would have nothing.
So this thing called BioShield, let me preface this with this. So I believe these types of therapies are wonderful for people who are in crisis, right? They're already in crisis. They're already with disease. I think that everything should be available to people. Everything should be available. And you should be able to choose what kind of treatment and, what route you want to take to healing, because there is something inside of us. And, this model of care doesn't want to recognize it, but there is something inside of you, inside of me, that directs us. Things resonate with you. You're like, I should probably look into that a little more. There's a reason for that. That's one of those higher faculties that I think we all need to work on to develop. Call it intuition, call it gut, call it frequency. I don't know, but it's real. And so I don't think anybody is qualified to choose your course of action when it comes to disease. Nobody's more qualified than you. Now, the thing is that when we get a diagnosis, we often get like paralysis, fear paralysis, and we can't do thinking because it's like we're just freaked out, right? And that's such a tough place to be, because the allopathic model, also one of the ingredients of the allopathic model, how it continues to run the way it does, is fear. They don't sit you down and say, let's calm your nervous system. It's really time to check in so we can be guided by your inner intuition to what route we should be taking. They don't do that. They pressure you. Do something now. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Did you know that medicinal mushrooms are excellent for pets? Take our preferred pet health products for joint health, skin health, antioxidant protection, sow health, anti-aging benefits, gut health, liver support, cholesterol regulation, blood pressure support, brain health, anxiety relief, respiratory health, endurance and strength, anti-fatigue, and much more. Available in easy-to-take treats, great-tasting gravy, and our pet food blends.
Since adding mushroom dog food to my dog's diet, I've noticed a huge improvement in his energy and coat health. He's like a puppy again, even at 10 years old.
After starting my care on mushroom super sauce, her immune health and digestion have noticeably improved. She's more playful, and her fur has never looked shinier.
Learn how to get free shipping and how to join our monthly mushroom call. Text Tammy with questions or to order at 720-303-8868. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com/mushroom. That's naturallyinspiredradio.com/mushroom.
We're back. If you aren't taking collagen, you should be. We lose 1% of collagen per year, every year after our mid-20s. And so, you know how maybe you see like more lines, maybe some sagging skin, some creping skin. Doesn't have to be just part of aging. You can fill that deficiency. And one of the ways that you can do it is by supplementation with collagen. I love this collagen. It's low molecular weight. It is highly absorbable. So if people have gut issues, it's not a problem. This is a wonderful collagen. It comes straight from chicken sternate, and it helps with mobility. So, I'm getting older. It's harder to get up out of the chair. No, you need collagen. You need collagen. So, mobility is independence. And that's why it's so much more than just great hair, great skin, great nails. It's actually provides you mobility and independence as you age. So be supplementing with collagen. You can get it at naturallyinspiredstore.com/collagen. You'll be so glad that you did. So on this topic of cancer, again, it's great that, we're starting to see some of this technology being rolled out and whatnot, and it's got a lot of promising aspects to it. My concern is that why don't we spend time and money understanding why we have cancer? Everything's always focused on the cure, and the cure just so happens to be some sort of product. And that worries me, because if we don't understand the true cause of cancer, and, the allopathic model will tell you, it's in your genes. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. I'll tell you right now, no, it isn't. Now, you can have genetic issues that make you more susceptible to cancer, like what we're finding out, possibly, there is research to suggest that if you have like gene mutations, that those gene mutations may make you more susceptible to not being able to detoxify. And if you can't detoxify, what do you think is going to happen? The body's going to become backed up, and it's going to go into survival mode. Survival mode means it's going to create a tumor to encapsulate all that toxicity and those dysregulated cells to protect your organs from being affected. That's a defense mechanism. Just like throwing up is a defense mechanism, right? It's your body is only ever trying to protect you. So when it throws up, it's because it's got to get something out, right? It's got to get it out. So we tend to look at these signals that come from our body as things that, need to be fought against and get it out of there, right? Just cut it out. If we don't understand why cancer occurs, then we can't truly heal it, because we don't understand what's causing it in the first place. One of the remedies of, treating cancer is often cutting it out. And that may not be the only thing that needs to occur, right? You have to make sure that you're restoring the body. So that's why I'm concerned about a lot of these things, because they never talk about prevention. They never talk about, understanding that lifestyle and what you're putting in your body every day matters. It matters for the outcomes that you get. They have to keep it in the idiopathic realm for them to continue to keep, selling products and distributing products. Because once you find out that you have a lot of control over your health, you have a lot of control, you're going to start acting on that. And then you're going to be less dependent on the disease care system. So I just looked it up a little bit, this BioShield thing, and it's an immunotherapy strategy, and it's called Cancer BioShield. Is a platform immunotherapy strategy developed by Immunity Bio, designed to restore immune competence, especially in the settings where cancer or cancer treatments have caused lymphopenia, which is the loss of T cells. At its core, it is ANKTIVA, which is an IL-15 agonist, superagonist therapy intended to stimulate proliferation and activation of NK cells, CD4, and it's getting into a lot of jargon here. In many cancers and during standard cancer treatments, lymphopenia, a depletion of important immune cells, is a serious side effect. This weakens anti-tumor immunity, impairs immunosurveillance, and is associated with worse outcomes. So Immunity Bio reports that in 2025, the FDA has authorized expanded access of ANKTIVA to treat lymphopenia in adult patients with refractory or relapsed solid tumors, regardless of tumor type, after the first line of therapies have failed. So it sounds like a promising treatment here. But again, we need to be having conversations about prevention. It seems sinister to me a little bit that, sugar, we know, feeds cancer. But still, that's like something that is known on the back channels. It's not something that people understand in everyday life. Sugar is bad, but we don't have this full understanding that sugar is toxic to the body, and it creates metabolic dysfunction, and metabolic dysfunction leads to disease. But yet we have all these corporations that will sell us, 40 grams of sugar in a tall mega cup, these fancy coffees, these drinks or whatever. And we are consuming ungodly amounts of sugar compared to what we were designed to consume. Like ungodly amounts of sugar. I mean, I think the recommended daily allowance for sugar is 20 grams, or 20 grams, I want to say, a day for a female, and maybe 25 for a male. And I think that's too much. Some of these drinks that we consume on a daily basis, some of these so-called health foods like granola and cereal, oatmeal, they're spiking your sugar. And a lot of them are packed with sugar, but yet the perception is that they are health foods. So it's like we need to just understand how our body processes food. I'm not here to take anybody's food away from them. I'm totally about freedom. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we need education. People need to understand what they're eating and what that impact is on their body. It's not just about weight. And we've been so, fixed on aesthetic. Oh, well, she's skinny. She must be healthy. No. We definitely know that obesity comes with a whole lot of issues. So being obese, is definitely it's a comorbidity. We know that, but just because you're skinny doesn't mean you're healthy metabolically. I know a lot of skinny people that eat a lot of candy, they eat a lot of, and that's just like I said, it's poison. So we need like a re-education, I guess. I hate that word, but like we need to be enlightened with how our bodies work and how to fuel them for the best health outcomes. And hopefully, we'll get it. We'll get it with Maha. But then again, I'm concerned about the tribalness of things, right? Where people feel like, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that because it's against my tribe. I want to play this next clip. This is Nina Techholz. She was talking at the Heritage Foundation. She's somebody I follow quite closely. Here, listen to her words. Not mine, hers. Here it is.
There are multiple randomized controlled clinical trials, which is the standard that you need for population-wide policy, showing that if you implement a diet which dramatically reduces the amount of carbohydrates, you can reverse type 2 diabetes, you can reverse hypertension, the vast majority of cardiovascular risk factors. You can reverse schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. I know that sounds crazy. Reduce depression and anxiety by 79%. Not within years, within weeks. Within weeks to months. In the biggest clinical trial on type 2 diabetes, and this was confirmed by other clinical trials, more than 50% of the population was able to reverse their type 2 diabetes, including people who'd had diabetes for 8 years. That was on average in this study. Reverse it. 50%, more than 50% within 10 weeks. This is doable, and I think for all of us should be a source of enormous optimism. And if I can just say one other thing, this knowledge has been around for a decade. You haven't heard of it, right? You haven't read it in a single newspaper that we can reverse type 2 diabetes, which affects 38 million people. Think about how many articles you've read on Ozempic and Wegovy and any of those drugs, those shots. Thousands of them. And yet not a single article on how you can reverse type 2 diabetes using food. And that tells you something about the challenges that we're up against today.
Right there. Something about the challenges that we're up against today, because we are up against mega corporations. The only way out of this is through you. It's through you being a steward of your own health, understanding this information and implementing it. And then you are a model for the people that you are around. And they say, holy, how did that happen? And then we have like a contagion of health, hopefully, through the country. It's remarkable, that we've gotten to this point where corporations run our health. They run the information right down to the food lobbies that lobbied for the food pyramid in the first place, that tell you to have 6 or 7, servings of whole grains and carbohydrates a day. It is not the way. We have reliable research. We have case studies. One thing I would add about the type 2 diabetes, stress is involved as well. It is a variable. We have to tend to our emotional status if we're going to truly be healthy. Stay tuned. Your health topic up next.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio, save it to your favorites, and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. NaturallyInspiredRadio.com.
Welcome back. I want to encourage you to visit naturallyinspiredstore.com. Come and join us in our community. We have a lot of fun here. We are getting results. It's so exciting to watch people turn their health around. I want you to be a part of it. Go to naturallyinspiredstore.com/assessment. Book with me. That's probably the best thing to do. Just let's sit down and have a chat and see how we might be a good fit for you. Naturallyinspiredstore.com/assessment. If you just have questions, if you just kind of want to ask a few questions, 720-303-8868. I would encourage you to book soon because my calendar is definitely filling up. I even have, people booking in November now. There's still some slots back in October, but November is being booked out as well. So if you're thinking, oh, I want to do that, maybe I should do it. Do it now because this message is getting out and it's resonating with people. And I want to make sure that I have plenty of time to serve you as well. Today, for the health topic, I want to talk about Parkinson's. So it used to be that heart disease was the number one cause of death in our country and cancer was number two. But what's happened recently is neurological disorders is creeping up to number one. We can speculate on why that might be. So a lot of questions about Parkinson's recently. Parkinson's is characterized by progressive loss of dopamine-producing neurons in a part of the brain called the substantia nigra, which leads to reduced dopamine signaling in the basal ganglia. There is accumulation of Lewy bodies, intercellular clumps of misfolded proteins. These aggregates are thought to interfere with the normal cellular operations and contribute to neuronal death. Mitochondrial dysfunction, oxidative stress, impaired protein degradation systems, neuroinflammation, and impaired cellular repair mechanisms are all implicated as part of the downstream cascade that leads to neuron loss. Okay. What is causing these environmental exposures or issues? What are causing these neurological issues? We have to talk about environmental exposure and toxins. So exposure to pesticides. We are seeing now paraquat was a big one that has been in a lawsuit, paraquat. And it's very specific neurotoxin is associated with increased Parkinson's. So what can you do about it? The gut-brain microbiome is also a huge part of this research, and I think we're going to learn more about that. So there's a growing interest in how the gut and the gut microbiome may play an early role in gut flora as well. Leaky gut. Inflammation comes from leaky gut, of course. Oxidative stress, metabolic stresses, it's all goes back to metabolic function. So what are some more natural ways to approach Parkinson's? This is just my opinion. Okay. I do not give medical advice and it's just my opinion, but I'll tell you, we see miraculous stuff that happens with a ketogenic therapeutic diet. You follow any of the top, more natural doctors and they talk about this. They talk about the power of a ketogenic diet in terms of therapeutic use. Also, fasting. fasting. So fasting and eating in a feasting window as well. So those are two things to research if you have a loved one that has a diagnosis of Parkinson's. The potential benefits of ketogenic diet are mitochondrial support. It helps with antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects because the ketones may reduce oxidative stress. There's a lot of different things that research-wise that prove that this could be a therapeutic approach to Parkinson's that could be beneficial. The other thing is, and I'm just saying this myself, if it were me, okay, I'm not giving medical advice here, but if it were me, I'd be looking into methylene blue if I knew somebody that had Parkinson's. I'd be looking into it. Now, again, everybody runs out and goes on methylene blue. I'm going to ask you why. Why are you on that? What is your goal with it, right? I don't look at it as like a prevention type of thing. I look at it as a therapy. So methylene blue, mitochondrial enhancer and alternative electron carrier. It can accept and donate electrons, helping bypass dysfunctional portions of the mitochondrial electron transport chain. Neuroprotection in animal models. So in MPTP models, methylene blue pre-treatment attenuated loss of dopaminergic neurons and activation. There's a lot of medical jargon in here. But it would be definitely something I would try, a combination, okay, of first of all, an assessment on toxic burden. Get all the chemicals out of your house, right? Get a cleanest environment as I possibly could. Exercise has been noted as being helpful with this type of neurological stuff. So there's research on that. And go to the NIH website and look this stuff up, okay? So exercise, ketogenic therapy diet, fasting, right? Fasting in a window, talking like 16 and 8, or perhaps even 18 and 6 in terms of fasting. Hydration, absolutely necessary. Regular supplementation, right? So, really good supplementation, high fat supplementation, and then do your research on the methylene blue. That would be where I would start with a diagnosis such as that. I had another article that I was going to cover today on circumcision because it was in the news and I've lost it. So I want to talk about it a little bit, but I don't have the full article. So what I'll do is I'll start it and then we will talk about it again next week because I know it's an area of interest for many people. So why do we circumcise? Why do we circumcise? This has come up recently, and I found it interesting because I remember dealing with this issue with my son, and I didn't even think about it. Because it's become so part of our culture that I didn't really think about it. And at the time I had a nurse that was coming into to our house to help me with the baby. And she said to me, kind of in an off the cuff comment, she said, are you going to circumcise? And I just said, yeah. And then she said, do you know that's baby mutilation? And at the time, this is years ago, right? Before my son was just born. I was like, what are you talking about? And she kind of dropped some pretty good facts on me, but it didn't resonate. I felt defensive because it was something that I just assumed we had to do. And I was young and I didn't look into it. But now it's interesting because of COVID, everybody's questioning everything. And I think it's fantastic because most people don't know the origins of circumcision and they don't know why we do it. So it's religious and a cultural tradition. And circumcision is performed on the 8th day of life as a covenant between God and Abraham's descendants, representing spiritual purification and belonging to the Jewish community. It symbolizes obedience, dedication, and divine connection. That's in Judaism. In Islam, it's known as khitan, and it is considered a sunnah, recommended practice of the Prophet Muhammad, and often performed in childhood. The act is seen as spiritual cleanliness. In Christianity, most Christian denominations do not require circumcision, but some communities adopted it culturally, especially in the U.S. and Africa, where it merged with public health reasoning. So many African and Pacific cultures include circumcision as a part of initiation rites into manhood. The medical and hygiene reasons, when you really look at these, they really don't make a lot of sense. And what comes to mind for me is this assumed knowledge that we all have been operating off of. And I think because of COVID and because of, the mistrust that has accumulated, rightfully so, as I described to you through this whole show about the medical model, I think these things we need to revisit. What exactly are we doing this for? Because I'll tell you, circumcision makes a lot of money. What? You say, what do you mean? It can't cost that much to circumcise. That's not what I'm talking about. What they do with the skin from a circumcision is a whole industry. They actually use the skin in medical products, beauty products. Beauty products. The foreskin taken from babies is sold and it is used in beauty products. It is used in, it's the same reason, you guys, why they protect abortion fiercely. It isn't because of women's rights. Let me tell you, it is because it is a $1 billion business with medical research. You can sell all of that stuff. That is why they get fiercely protective of abortion, this other ritual practice. Can we just say, if you don't even know why you're doing it, that's suspicious, most people wouldn't be able to tell you why they do it. Now, if you want to do it for religious reasons, I get it. Okay. But in America, it says here, that this was adopted. It was just adopted as a practice. And it's for hygienic reasons. What? I don't know. I just feel like it's more cultural and social contagion than anything else. Now, like I said, if it's part of your religion, and again, I don't want to take away anybody's right to circumcise. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your private parts. But I am questioning why we do this, because there is risk with it. There's absolutely risk with it. They're correlating, even Tylenol toxicity with it, because, just give him a little Tylenol and he'll be fine. Meanwhile, Tylenol's toxic, right? I don't know. But what I am saying is we need to rethink everything. At least know why you're doing it, Understand why you're doing it. It's Friday, so have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you Monday. This has been Naturally Inspired Radio.
Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans struggle with their health every single day? That's why we are reaching out to health professionals and to anyone who simply has a heart for helping people. Right now, there's an opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives while building a flexible income stream for yourself. Whether you're already working in health, wellness, or just passionate about seeing people thrive, we want to connect with you and introduce you to our system Together, we can provide real solutions that empower people to take control of their health and create lasting impact. If you've been looking for a way to combine purpose with income, this is it. Visit simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. That's simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. We look forward to working with you.